What's up, everyone? Welcome to Matty Ice 36, the newest active duty military YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about boot camp because that was a lot of the requests was boot camp, and I kind of have an idea of some questions that maybe have or haven't been answered, and I know it just kind of offers a different perspective. So I'm going to start all the way when you show up to MEPS the night before. So when you show up to MEPS, your recruiter's going to drop you off. You're going to be checking in. Same thing as your qualification physical and where you pick your job and all of that, except this time you'll be shipping off to Navy boot camp, which is a little bit different. So the next morning you wake up, you do the same stuff. You go with all the same people, except this time you'll be in the line where people are shipping to boot camp, and you'll be signing your final contract, making sure everything is correct in it, and also making sure that basically during this final physical, they're making sure that you're fit to go to boot camp. They're not wasting any money on you. So after everything's done, you're gonna receive your packet with all your paperwork and your orders and your plane ticket, which are kind of together. So basically, you get active orders saying to go to boot camp on this date at this time. And when you get there, it tells you to check into the USO. So you'll probably be flying with some other people that are also going to boot camp, most likely. So you kind of have a chance to get to know some of the people that may be in the same division as you, may not. I think everybody that shipped with me was either in my division or my brother division for the most part. At least like 4 of us were, which was kind of cool for us because we knew each other a little bit, not that well, because obviously we only had like a day to get to know each other. But it was still kind of cool. Anyways, when you first get there, you're gonna. So me and my group, we had a little bit of time to eat because they give you vouchers to eat in the airport. We had some time to go eat and grab some caffeine since we had all kind of done our research and knew that we were gonna need to stay awake for a while. So we all decided to try to get some caffeine in us before we had to go. So we got some food and caffeine in us, and we went down and checked in the USO after we were done. So after we checked into the USO, they said, "Oh, go to this designated location in the airport, and there's people there to meet you there and tell you what to do from here." So we all go down there. I think there were some petty officers that kind of came down and briefed us, basically rules of the bus. If you got any cash in your pockets, empty them out now. Kind of just trying to make everybody's life easier in a way, but also they were definitely I think I'd say they were definitely intimidating because you're just a civilian that's going to boot camp at this point, and they're petty officers, so it's a little weird. Basically, they tell you you got to stare forwards. It's reiterated a couple times. You got to stare forwards, eyes front, basically, and no looking around, no talking, nothing on the bus. I think there was a video or something of the CO of RTC or something like that on the bus right over there, kind of giving a brief about boot camp. So when you get to boot camp, you're gonna do a couple things. You're gonna send your phone call home. You're gonna call your parents, say, "Hey mom, I'm here. I'm safe, good to go. I'm gonna start boot camp. Probably not gonna get a call from me for another 4 weeks." Some of us had to actually, I think it was maybe like 2 to 3 minutes, and some people actually cut their phone call short so that the others of us could call their parents, and because our phones either died or we didn't bring our phones with us. My phone had died, so that's why I had to borrow somebody's. So after that, I think you do a couple other things. I don't remember the exact order. You get your P-Day stuff, such as your shoes. And then you also do a urinalysis test as well, like right when you get to boot camp. So drink some water. It'll definitely help. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of nervousness though with it that kind of prevents people from being able to. So during all this, there's gonna be a lot of yelling, probably a lot of yelling. There's gonna be a lot of people messing up, different things like that, just because it's a new environment. You don't really know what you're doing. There's definitely a shock factor. And I'd say that as it gets later in the night and you're just kind of sitting there, staying awake, being forced to stay awake, there's probably kind of a feeling that a lot of people have of what did I just get myself into? And don't freak out. Don't freak out if you start thinking that. A lot of people think that. Um, just kind of I just kind of blocked it out. I was definitely thinking that, but I was kind of laughing at myself, and that kind of helped me out. But that's just how I dealt with it personally. So, P days. Is that what's next? Yeah. Okay. So P days. So after all that, you're kind of gonna enter P days. You're gonna be assigned a division. You should do a lot of stenciling that night. You're gonna be assigned a division, and you're gonna stencil your name and division all over all your stuff. But anyways, so P days super monotonous, super tedious, just kind of the same work over and over and over again. A lot of cleaning the building, called the ship. A lot of cleaning the ship, and not a whole lot of really interesting stuff that you get to learn because it's just P days. And you, so some people I know, they got assigned division like right away and they just had to catch up. And then some people, like myself, we were like the first of our division to get there, and we had to wait for the rest of our division for like a week. Not a week, but we had to wait for the rest of our division basically. I think it was about a week that before we actually got to start the real P days, which is where you get all your shots, all that, and you actually get a marked fit for full duty. So after we did all of that, we actually so after P days, sorry, let me check my notes real quick. So P days is obviously pretty sucky. A lot of people refer to it as like the worst part of boot camp because it's so boring and you got to stay. It's long hours. You got to stay awake. It's boring. It's tedious. It's monotonous. Like I said. So here's the thing that a lot of people say. They say all 8 weeks are gonna suck. I don't personally agree with that necessarily. I kind of agree with a lot of the military YouTuber guys, the other guys out there, that kind of say after you kind of hit that first probably I'd say 3 weeks after that, those first 3 weeks, you start kind of getting used to the environment, used to operating in it, and it's probably a lot easier to operate in it, and you're used to the schedule, you're just used to everything, you're used to the new culture, and a lot of that suckiness of all that yelling and all of that is, it's the same across the military. The goal of it is the same across the military, and that's to break you down as a civilian and build you back up as whatever they're trying to make you. So in the Navy is building you back up as a sailor. So that's what they're trying to do there. So I think we got like 3 phone calls overall in my boot camp, maybe 4. And the 4th one was like, I think super short for me because it was like, hey dad, hey mom, I'm a sailor officially. Uh, after we had completed battle stations and we're about to graduate. And I won't say anything about battle stations other than it was cool because we're not allowed to talk about it. But so I'd say the fun parts of boot camp were, and they really weren't that fun because for me, the live fire was still closed, but they really weren't that fun. Was probably like the whole weapons training and with the 9mm, even though they were fake, essentially. But doing holster drills, things like that. We did holster drills with real ones too, but that was probably the most fun part for me. And then on top of that, the other fun part for me was firefighting. I really enjoyed firefighting because I felt like I learned a lot during firefighting. I felt like it was interesting, and firefighting and damage control, I thought it was super interesting. But as you get later into boot camp, you get more into that sort of that interesting stuff that you get to learn about, the more sailor familiarization stuff, which I think is cool. But that's just me. So another question a lot of people have is crying in boot camp. Did people do it? If so, what happened? People did it, absolutely. I think I cried like on one phone call because I was sad. A couple people cracked some jokes. That was about it. I'd say do your best to avoid crying because other people did cry at other moments. I'd say try just do your best to avoid doing it because it does kind of bring attention to you and not necessarily it's not necessarily in a bad way. It just kind of puts you on the radar, which isn't always a great thing. Um, so, but yeah, it's not. I mean, yeah, you can. And no, you're not going to get harassed or anything like that for it. So the other cool part was the whole being given the actual Navy ball cap. The whole ceremony behind that was super cool. I don't want to tell you how it's done really because even though I'm sure you can find it somewhere else, I don't want to spoil the ceremony because I think it was super cool. I was super stoked. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. And that was just me personally. So I don't want to spoil that because I think you guys will also love the sort of surprise, not really surprise, but kind of the surprise behind it. So also, if you have any suggestions for other formats for filming, I know you're just kind of watching me play FIFA, but still waiting on investing in a camera. Got to save up some money for that. I'm gonna get to it soon. If you have any suggestions for filming? If you have any other questions about the Navy below? Uh, Comment in the comment section. Like, subscribe. Thanks for joining the fam if you do. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and see you later.